Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about the MCU Black Widow movie. So I have now finally saw Black Widow, and I've seen every MCU movie to date except for Eternals and the Incredible Hulk. Now Eternals, and Shang-Chi, but I'm going to watch Shang-Chi very soon. I have no intentions of watching the Incredible Hulk or even like Eternals, only because the Incredible Hulk is so old and it is canon, but I really don't really consider it canon, but it is. And since so much stuff has happened with the Hulk, I really don't care. And as for Eternals, I just don't even know. I don't even know who they are. So why do I care? And not only that, but it's like there has to be I want a reason as to why they're in the MCU now. Like is it gonna lead to something great? When more movies and shows come out and reference them, then I'll watch it because I just want to know what the point. Because I don't understand what's the point. Some people say it links to Thanos, but Thanos is dead, so what's the point? So, and so, I just don't have no intentions of like seeing it because I really don't even know who they are and everything. But anyway, Black Widow. So yeah, this was a really good movie. It lagged in a couple of points, and it was actually not what I thought it was gonna be, which what it should have been. But for the most part, it was a good, solid movie. But that's just it. It was just a good, solid movie. It didn't wow me. It didn't make me want to have like a sequel. But the jarring thing was kind of like, well, what's really the point? Because she's dead in the MCU. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but okay, it made sense as to why they would make a movie that happened before her death. That made sense because duh, she's dead. And they had plenty of time to make a solo Black Widow movie. 10 years in the freaking making, man. She showed up in Iron Man 2. And Iron Man 2 came out around, it was either 2010, 2011, or 2012. Something like that. No. I think 2010 was the events of the Avengers. So she came out way before that. So it took this long and everything. And that was just ridiculous and everything. And so, and it's a shame because she was the first female like hero to show up in the MCU, and they did absolutely nothing with her. Unless you kind of want to count Pepper Potts, because she did show up as a hero in the last Avenger movie, but she was never really a hero. You know what I'm saying? Like she is in the comics. They lagged with that. She should have been a hero in the third Iron Man movie. Anyway. But it just took way too long to give, Black Widow her own movie. And this really is a shame. And it was part of the problem people was having with Marvel and their diversity. It took them so long to make, like, a predominantly black movie with Black Panther. It took them so long to bring in, like, Black Panther himself. It took too long for them to make a Black Widow movie. It took too long for there to be like more females showing up in the MCU and everything. It just took too stinking long. And nobody understood why. And so, no, wait, I'm making a mistake. This is not the first female-led Marvel MCU movie. Captain Marvel was. So yeah, it took too long even for that. And so I hate how they're bringing in now all these new characters and being like, oh yeah, they've been in the MCU forever. You just never saw them. And then they make like their origin movie that it kind of makes sense for the timeline of the MCU, but kind of doesn't. And then you're like, okay, well, if you're this powerful, then where the heck have you been? So this is a problem I'm having with the MCU. It's kind of like all these powerful people like the Eternals, Captain Marvel, the X-Men. It's like, okay, if they existed this entire time in the MCU, where in the world were they? So this is a problem having all the future movies and stuff. But like with the Black Widow movie, This whole purpose of the movie was to introduce us to Yelena and everything, because she is, of course, taking over as Black Widow because Natasha is dead in the MCU. Now, back to them making a prequel movie. If they was gonna do that, why not show what happened in Budapest? Why not show? Why not even make this a spy movie? That's the problem. That's the main problem I have with this movie. Why isn't it a spy movie? Because it's not. Natasha is a spy. They could have shown like one of her first missions, or like, when she finally turned good, or, the events of what made her turn good, something like that. But this movie served really no purpose, unless all the Black Widows are gonna show up in the future and stuff as like an army and help out and everything. But other than that, it serves no purpose, this movie whatsoever. It was a weak script in terms of like the overarching storyline of the MCU, but it was a nice self-contained story for that of like something personal going on in Natasha's life that we never knew anything about. But this was a really nice family movie. It was a nice self-contained story. It was nice to see Natasha's makeshift family and everything from the Black Widow program. But like I said before, it was to introduce Yelena. And I actually like Yelena in this movie a lot. A whole lot more than I liked her in Hawkeye. Hawkeye, she got on my nerves with all that comedic stuff. But here, Florence Pugh was like perfect in this movie. Like you really got a sense of like how she felt and everything, like from like the little girl in the beginning of the movie, and like she really acted like the youngest person of the family who wants the family to like stay together and doesn't care if they're not really blood related, like it's real to her, and she played that beautifully. And the ending part where she's all like, this is fun, and then she destroyed like the helicarrier thing. That was perfect, except for the way she flew backwards in the explosion and stuff. But when it comes to this movie, there was a lot of controversy surrounding it. Not just the fact that it took so long to make, but because it wasn't in theaters and it was on Disney Plus. Now, I'm all for it being on Disney Plus, not the theaters, because we were during the strong point of like the pandemic and the dangerous parts of it. And you gotta be safe. However, Scarlett Johansson was furious because if it would have came out in theaters, she would have got more like residuals and money and other good stuff that comes from a movie coming out in theaters. It coming on streaming, she didn't get a lot of that stuff, and that really made her mad to the point she sued. And you know what? Because she sued and won millions, I bet even though her character is dead, we will never see her pop up again in the MCU. I bet you will never really see, we'll probably see archive footage, but we'll never see Scarlett Johansson again in either a Disney or a Marvel movie because of that. Because you know how studios are about their money. And so, yeah, even though she's dead, there's always the possibility she can always come back some way or another. Multiverse, cloning, somebody, a shapeshifter, it doesn't matter. We'll never see her again. Stuff. We'll hear her character's name mentioned, but we'll never see her again. Stuff. And so, like, to me, the biggest disappointment with this movie is the fact that it's not a spy movie. It should have been a spy movie. It's dealing with the Black Widows. They are spies. It would have been great to have this as kind of like a Captain America, Winter Soldier type movie, a nice espionage movie, a James Bond type movie. Do something different in that regards, Marvel, and they didn't. And then the worst part of it all is that the director said that they were pretty much like kicked out of the third act of the movie because Marvel's all like, oh, don't worry about the third act of the movie in the action. We got that. And of course, what did they do? Over the top choreography for the movie, something giant flying in the air, huge explosions going off, people surviving. They had no business surviving. Like, how, seriously, how did Scarlett Johansson's character, like, how did Natasha even survive this movie? Seriously, how did most of them survive this movie? They should have been dead. That don't make no sense. But like I said before, this movie was pointless because Natasha is dead, of course. But of course, this was the setup for Yelena and the Thunderbolts and all this other stuff, because a lot of the characters in this movie are in Thunderbolts now. Now, as for the movie itself, the parts that I really enjoyed was just the family stuff. That was great. It was nice seeing like Natasha's makeshift family in the beginning of the movie when they're younger and having to flee because they got found out, and having them be put in the Black Widow program and stuff. That was great. It was great how like Natasha and Yelena found each other again, and they have their sibling rivalry, their bitterness, their bickering. That was great. It really shows that Scarlett character was the oldest one, and Yelena's character was the youngest one. And the improv stuff of like, oh, how do you land like that superhero pose you do? Like, why do you do it? Like, it was kind of cute, funny, but it just took me out of the movie. But it was improv in the movie, but it was cute, funny, but it just took me out of the movie. Because for the most part, this movie doesn't have that much Disney baby humor. It only has it in, I think his name is Red Guardian, I think it is, or The Guardian. He's kind of like a Russian version of Captain America, who was experimented on with the super soldier program, because, Steve Blood just went like everywhere in the 50s and stuff. And so, like, really, he's only the real comedic humor, the Disney baby humor, because he's the only, like, there's only really like two real like male characters in the movie. One's of course the bad guy, and of course him, and he's made to look like a buffoon. And I'm so sick and tired. That's not showing women empowerment. Like, I'm sorry, you need a good balance. No matter what you make, you need a balance. And the fact that he was the only male hero and he was made to look like a buffoon in the entire movie just really shows like the state of modern like cinema and everything, and modern like television and movies. They do this a lot, thinking it's like some type of gender revenge and everything. A lot of females were treated like crap in movies and TV shows in the past, so they're doing the whole revenge thing now. But it's obvious what they're doing and everything. Like, they're purposely doing it. I mean, yeah, they purposely did it in the past, but people really didn't notice it because that's just how times were in those days, and it was wrong. But it's also wrong to seek your revenge and do it over and over and over with every movie and TV show that comes out. And it's just buffoonery and everything. And so, but yeah, like I said before, it was nice seeing those two rekindle their like sisterly vibe type thing. It was nice seeing how they got their father out of like prison and everything. It was nice how they met up with their mom, even though she kind of betrayed them and kind of not. I did like that twist. I did not see that twist really coming. And then the other twist on top of that, that was really cool. Cause basically, they meet their mother. She's been living alone, and she had to let what's his face, the bad guy, know that they're here. But then they tricked them into like putting on that thing from Captain America, in the Winter Soldier, that little screen thing that goes over your face and make you look like a different person, tricking him. So the mom really isn't like a bad person. She's actually really good and stuff. Now, and like I said before, one of the biggest things that I loved in here was Yelena. Like, when she kept like getting upset at the family, when they all like, oh, we're not a real family, and she got mad. She's like, yes, you are. Like, you're my family. You're my mom. You're my dad. You're my sister. Like, I know we're not blood related. I know it's not real, but it's real to me. That was the best part in this like entire movie, in my opinion. And so like. But one of the worst things that I hate was the entire mission that they went on, because it was kind of pointless, to tell you the truth. Like, we don't know that much about Black Widows in the past. We as viewers assume, okay, either they're still out there or they're not. Natasha thought they were all gone, but oh no, they're still active and everything. So we have to free them. So it's like, really? But that was nice to finally see Natasha get her butt kicked after all this time. It's just, it is kind of weird how she got her butt kicked by people that are similar to her. Like, everybody else she has fought has never been able to like really get it to her, except for like, other Black Widows and stuff. But the whole point of this movie is to like free the Black Widows and liberate them and everything, and they do that. But it was just kind of pointless. So it's kind of like, what's the point? Like, nobody cares about the Black Widow program because it's barely been touched on. It's been touched on tiny bits here and there in the first season of Agent Carter and in the second Avengers movie and a little bit in the first, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really thinks about that. Just kind of like how people don't think about Hydra no more. Hydra is still out there somewhere, but nobody thinks about it no more. And so, like, that to me was just kind of like a pointless part of the movie, them freeing the Black Widows. Also, the main bad guy who started the whole thing is kind of like, Natasha thought he was dead, but oh no, he's alive. So she has to go, like, take care of him. But it's kind of like, did they really have to add him in as the villain? Because it's kind of like she thought he was dead. Just let him be dead. There's no point in resurrecting him just to kill him off and everything. And then the worst villain in this entire movie was Taskmaster. And I'm just kind of like, Marvel has a villain problem. They still have a villain problem till this day. Taskmaster was terrible in this movie. Cool. I mean, the twist, yeah, we assumed it was going to be like a man underneath that outfit, but actually it's a woman. And not only is it a woman, it's the daughter of the dude who Natasha hates and is the villain of this movie. But when Natasha thought she killed her, because that was her mission when she was in S.H.I.E.L.D., she thought, like, she killed that girl, but, she survived somehow. But the father turned her into like a living, like, mimicking computer and everything. And so she's basically brainwashed into the entire movie. Now, it was a huge twist to find out who Taskmaster really is. And I don't care that the whole thing's been gender bent. That's not my problem. My problem is she's basically Lady Deathstrike from the second X-Men movie. Remember that? Remember how it's like this cool character from the comics? But oh no, wait, she's brainwashed in the entire movie. So that's why she does what she does? And that just made it lame and everything. So she wasn't even really a villain. So now she's been rescued. I don't know how she survived, but she's been rescued and saved, and she's not brainwashed no more, and she's gonna be in the Thunderbolts. And so it's just kind of like, this movie had weak villains all around. And so, of course, it ends with Natasha. I don't know if that's the part that's confusing. Thunderbolt Ross came in at the end of the movie when Natasha was there. She is a fugitive. He still wants to get her for what happened in Captain America Civil War. But she basically surrenders. And when she surrenders, why didn't he arrest her or imprison her and everything? It just shown that later on, she's back in her trailer. She dyes her hair blonde. She puts on Yelena's vest. That's where she got that from in the last Avengers movie. And she's back to talking to her contact, which is her and her contact dating. It made it seem that way and stuff. But anyways, yeah, it's just kind of like that part of the movie just confused the crap out of me. And then, of course, after the whole Thanos snap, we see Yelena's alive again. And so she wants to know who killed, like, her sister. And this lady comes up. And she's been working for that lady for, like, the longest time. And so now she's going to be part of the Thunderbolts. And that's when she goes after Hawkeye and, like, the Hawkeye series and stuff. But this movie was basically just set up for Yelena. They should have just called it Black Widow Yelena or something like that. And because, like, Natasha really didn't even serve a purpose in her own movie because she's dead in the future and stuff. Now, one thing that's always bugged me about Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow is that, one, she doesn't have the Russian accent. That's always bugged me since she first showed up. And they even translated that into Avengers Assemble, the cartoon series. And I'm just kind of like, is it really that hard for her to put on a fake Russian accent? She's never done it in none of these movies. Never. Like, never. Not even a little in this movie. And it's like, was it that hard to find a Russian actress? What about the lady from Resident Evil who plays Alice? She's actually Russian. And she would have been great in this movie. She does action, she acts, she has a. She doesn't even have a Russian accent, to tell you the truth, which is weird. But I think that was her daughter, I think, in the beginning of the movie, playing young Natasha and stuff. But it would have made more sense for them to play mother and daughter, the younger and older version. But yeah, that's something that's always bugged me about her version of like Natasha. In the Ultimate Avengers animated movie, that lady pulls off a Russian accent and it sounds cool. It gives a mysterious vibe to her character. And that's another thing about Natasha in the MCU. She's never felt mysterious. Like, she's a great fighter, and but she's never really felt tough. And that's the thing about Black Widow, is that like she is deadly tough. Like, you have to watch out what you say around her sometimes, because she's rude. And she was kind of like that in the Avengers, and a little bit like that in Iron Man 2. But since then, she's just become a little bit of a softie and everything. So that's really my only problems with her playing like Black Widow and stuff. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.